Okay, so we are talking about taking feedback from customers and checking with them about certain ideas that we have as the team behind a very interesting and exciting entrepreneurial idea. Ali said that this reminded him of empathy. What else would you like to say about this?
Is it also primary market research?
Adam, yes, it is part of primary market research because I'm directly talking to my potential customers and seeking their feedback and their opinion. And there are many ways to do this. Who would like to remind us of some ways, and that like some ways we stressed a lot on them, and some other ways we said they're good, but don't just focus on that. Do you remember?
Yes, the one-on-one interview and the group forums.
Yes. So the one-on-one interview is really good. So now you are in a bigger group, and some of you are like saying a few words, saying their opinion in the chat in a very brief way. But do you believe that if, for example, Adam, I am only talking with you and there's no one else in the room, would you feel more comfortable to open up, tell me your real opinion about things, like engage more in the discussion? What do you think?
Yes, the group opinions affect the person somehow.
Exactly. So this is why we stress so much on the one-on-one interview, because as we just like saw from Adam, he would feel more comfortable to talk and to tell me his real opinion about Shabab Lab, which is again like the example of the entrepreneurial idea, and tell me maybe he can provide suggestions. He will feel free, like, it's just a one-on-one discussion. Mona is asking about my opinion. She really cares. I'm going to give her back and give her everything I thought about. Whereas when we are in a group, which is sometimes we call focus group, the opinions of some people might affect opinions of others, and we might not end up getting everything that we need. So this is very important for you to understand and to try to really apply. So we know that this program is somehow short in time. It's only 1 month long. Sometimes you don't have access to the people that you would like to talk to. Even if you try, it might take some time for them to respond or to give you an appointment for the interview. I mean, this is something that we are aware about, but we also would like you to keep in mind that this is the right way to do things. So now I know all of you have thought of different problems, and some of you started thinking of different solutions, but we always need to think, am I just basing this problem and solution on my own assumptions, own thoughts, own beliefs, or am I rooting them in some kind of reality, in research, in customer validation and customer feedback? So this is really important. Who would like to tell us, maybe give us one example from the problems that you have chosen, and what kind of solutions are you thinking about, and whether you were able to do? Again, I don't expect you to do a lot of validation because I know that this is time consuming. Again, you don't have a lot of time in this program, but we have to have at least a little bit of that. And again, this is something for you to also keep on applying after the program is over. So now you got the hang of it, you understood it. And in your next projects, you will say, oh, like, no, I cannot just base this on my own intuition, on my own, assumptions. I have to also base it in some reality. I need to check. So who would like to give us an example? Anyone?
I'd say let's pick someone from the group.
Just can you repeat the example of what, because I didn't hear it?
Yeah, so what I want is someone to volunteer to tell me about the problem that he or she thought about solving in the Web for Change program. And as you remember, this should be a problem related to the environment, right? And then tell me about the solution that they thought of or are starting to think of. And then we will see whether you are doing this according to the methodologies that you learned, or whether you are only basing this on your own assumptions. So it's just an example, and of course, the person who will volunteer will learn a lot, and it will be a good experience, an example for the others as well. So who would like to volunteer? Adam?
Yes.
So
The
what's the
environmental
problem?
I chose the water contamination.
Okay, so water contamination, this is a very important problem, but you need to be more specific, right? Because as you may know, when we talk about water, we say that more than 70% of life is water. You know this, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we are talking about the oceans, about the seas, about the rivers, about the lakes, about the ponds, like so many different things, right? And we like the fresh water is something, and the salty water is something completely else. Type, what would you like to focus on more?
I would like to focus on the river, like the Litani River, and yes.
The rivers. So the rivers in Lebanon more specifically. Okay, why are you choosing rivers?
I'm choosing rivers because river is a very good place to sit in, and there's like the Hasbani River. There's many places to sit beside the river, but the river
so
is
because
very
they could
polluted.
be, so they could be good touristic areas. They could attract tourists, or it doesn't have to be like international tourists. It could be internal tourists, like from the same country.
Yes.
It would drive some economic activity, right? Because if you have those restaurants and those, I don't know, like boat trips in the river and some activities around it, this will generate income for the area. Like, for example, in the Hasbani, like, you know, those like thriving shops and restaurants and rest houses and like activities, they bring economic activity to the people of the area and to Lebanon more generally. So yes, it's very important that these rivers are clean and not polluted. Otherwise, what will happen to this economic and touristic activity? What will happen to it? It will be damaged, it will be ruined, it
like
won't
now,
be...
yes.
Exactly. So in the Litani, when I was a small kid, by the way, guys, that was a long time ago, the Litani wasn't as polluted as today, and it was really a great place to go and have lunch, you know, beside the Karaoun Lake, to have a boat ride, to ride on a horse and things like that. But when the pollution became like toxic and severe, suddenly there was a major drop in this activity. So yes, I do resonate with you, Adam. This is nice. Type. Now let's move to the second step. What can we do given that you learned web development? So and as I mentioned in one of the emails, I believe we exposed you to web development before we asked you to create a solution, because you need to understand the capabilities of the technology that you are working with. So I can, you know, because I need to know exactly what this can do before I come up with a solution. If I came up with a solution before, then maybe the technology will not be able to serve me. So this is why, as you could see in the order of the modules, web development came before ideation. So now that you know, and of course you have known before, but now you became even more exposed to how to do websites, what are websites, different types of websites. What idea do you have in mind, Adam, in order to again, I don't expect you guys at this age to solve the water contamination problem in rivers in your area. Of course not. This is not possible. This is a big problem. But what can you do in order to contribute to the solution or alleviate the problem, or meaning to reduce the problem? So what do you have in mind, Adam?
I have in mind to make like a small organization to remind people about the river and to make clean or to clean the river and like this.
Okay.
But I don't have yet a specific
I'm
program
also
for this.
talking about the Hasbani's river pollution.
That's nice, Serene. Okay, so you may have found yourself a partner. Okay, so Serene, about the pollution in the Hasbani very specifically, what do you believe could be done from a web development perspective, right? And again, this is a very important point, guys. You are creating some kind of a website to help solve this problem. However, you need to know, and I can't remember if I mentioned this in one of the videos, but maybe I did. Sometimes there will be also a physical aspect to this solution. So in your case, Adam, you said, I'm thinking to create an organization. I'm imagining it's something more of a society, like a civil society or a nonprofit organization, in order, as you mentioned, to remind the people about the river and to help clean the river. So this is, even if there's a website for this organization, but it's an actual organization. So it's not just a web, solution. There's this physical aspect to it. So don't forget to also think about the physical aspect. If you are talking about cleaning the river, I can't clean the river over a website, right? Like, how do you do that? You can't. You need to actually have people, real people, that will go down and like they will take some tools with them, right? In order to clean the river. So don't forget, guys, to think about the physical aspect of your web solution. So this is very important to keep in mind.
Like
Okay.
you can make the website like have a place to like a submission forms or something, like so people that are interested they can join.
Yes, exactly. So you can have some announcements, you can have some calls for like cleanups, where a place where people can sign up. You can, as you mentioned, keep raising awareness about the importance of these rivers, maybe share stories about the people around the rivers and the businesses around the rivers, the economy around the river, and how this is contributing to the bigger economy of the country. So yes, the website can do many things, but what I'm trying to say is that the website alone, sometimes it depends really on what you're trying to do, cannot do everything, especially if we are talking about like there's a real body, right? Like there's an actual river that is being polluted. So if I'm calling for cleanups on the website and collecting interest, but at one point I have to organize the actual cleanup. So I have to have maybe a bus that will go and pick up the volunteers and get them to the house bunny. I need to bring the tools. Yes,
Campaigns.
Yes, awareness campaigns and etc. So yes, this is all good. What I would like to suggest as well, and this is also part of your modules, guys, that you saw on the platform, and as part of market research, I would like you to also look at other solutions out there. And if we are talking about the Hasbani River, this is a very specific river in Lebanon. But don't you think that some other countries in the world had also similar problems, and that there have been other people as well who tried to solve these problems, and maybe they have used websites or web solutions in order to solve them?
Yes.
Exactly. So this is where it's very important to do what we call this competitive analysis, even if they are not competing with you directly. So I always need to understand who else exists, who else is doing something similar to what I'm doing, and how can I learn from them so that I do not reinvent the wheel. So we never want to reinvent the wheel, because why? We as human beings, right? We learn from what has been done before us, right? So we are much more advanced than the first human on Earth. So it doesn't make sense for me to come and say, no, like I'm not going to look at what other people have done. Let me come up with a new solution and I'm going to do it from scratch. No, this doesn't work because there's an asset there. We have treasure, if I want to say, what other people have done and whether it has worked or not, lessons learned, reviews, feedback online. And maybe it's difficult to find about other initiatives in the same country, especially that in the Arab world, we don't have a lot of data about these projects. But in other countries, we will definitely have some good information, some articles, maybe some interviews done with those entrepreneurs or those activists who were trying to create these campaigns to clean certain rivers, and they had also a web-based solution accompanied with that. So learn from them. This is what I want to tell you. You need to learn from what other people have done, even if you don't see the relevance at the first place. Like if you talk about the Amazon River, it's a very different kind of river. But yes, you might benefit from reading about how some campaigns and how some NGOs and how some young people like yourselves are trying to help out. Okay, so I need you to do this kind of research because I tell you that the idea is good. However, it will become way better if you look at what's already being done in the world and this whole like cleanup, initiatives, which is not new. Of course, this exists since a long time. And then you see, okay, what can I do differently? How can I improve on this? How can I learn from what other people have done to ensure a success of my initiative? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. It's a good idea to have a look.
Okay, it's very important, and this is again a skill set that you that you build and you keep working on with time. So anytime you have this like great idea, guys, this is awesome, but just like wait a second and do some research. I'm not telling you if someone else has done it then you shouldn't do it. No, not at all. Of course, it's still worth it. It's very important for you to actually do it yourself too. However, learn from what others have done, simply because we don't want to repeat the mistakes of other people, right? Like we already know they've done this and this worked, this didn't work. So let's learn. And again, as human beings, we are learning creatures, and this is what differentiates us from animals. If you think about it, like why could man build this like huge empire and animals couldn't? Because animals just like they don't learn and advance. They're just like the cycle is repeating and it's the same. Whereas in human beings, every time we have a new generation, it's building upon the achievements of all the previous generations. And what we want you to do is do the same, but of course with a social perspective, because we believe that man at some point neglected the earth, neglected the society. And a lot of people became very much obsessed with their personal gain, with their, profit making, with creating fame and success and money and wealth and power. And what we're saying is that we need to slow down a bit and rethink, how can we be famous and influential and make money, but at the same time be serving the planet, at the same time be serving humanity, at the same time be contributing positively to the society that we live in. So this is all very important. And again, this is part of why you guys are here, and this is why Shabab Lab was started in the first place, because technology is double-edged sword, and we human beings decide how we want to use it. We can use it just to make money and to make wealth and power and influence, or we can use it to make money and do good to the world, make money and help our society, make money and be influential in a good way. So this is really a matter of personal choice. And we are exposing you to a new method, saying that you can do both. Like if you can do both, then you should do both. Okay, so I hope this this also motivates you and helps you to continue your journey with Shabab Lab. Now I want you really to have some time to discuss your ideas with other people. And I know that on the WhatsApp group, you have been trying to form teams. Wasim maybe has insight on this because he's monitoring closely what's going on in the program on the platform. So Wasim, how do you think we're doing in terms of team formation? Are we on track, or do the students need to get to know more like one another?
So far, it seems that everybody's on track because most of the students, like I can say 90% of them, already posted on a group and they formed teams. Even like most of them were like, they didn't know each other. So even yesterday, this happened yesterday, they talked in a group, like most of them don't know each other and they started forming teams right away. They were so open to working with people from diverse backgrounds, which is very good. It's always good. And some I got like questions about why should we work in teams. So basically, to answer your question about this, this is a very major skill, like teamwork, communication, and networking. All of these can be attained through what you're doing now, through working with others. So this is why we always encourage you to work in teams and with people from diverse backgrounds. So this will help you in the future, like in future jobs, or if you want to pursue like the entrepreneur path. So it's very crucial for you to gain the skills, and at this early age. The earlier you are, if you were at the event, like 2 days before, if you attended the event, Shada said this quote. I like it. The earlier you are, the better. So it's better to always, like at an early age, gain these major skills so you can always advance in life.
Yes, I totally agree. Thank you so much, Wasim, for these insights. And now what I would like to do to help also you guys get to know each other and discuss some of your ideas, I will divide the group into 2 breakout rooms. One will stay with me in the main room and the other will go with Wasim. And what I want you to do is really talk briefly about the problem you are thinking about if you found it a team or not yet, and any solutions you have in mind, and how we can validate these solutions. So again, guys, it's not just about coming up with a problem and a solution. We need to follow the methodology that you were exposed to in the program, because otherwise you wouldn't have gained much from the program if we just come up, oh, this is the problem, this is the solution. No, you have to try to validate, you have to empathize with the people, you have to come up with different ideas, do your research, look at what other people are doing, think from a lean perspective. And I don't know if you arrived yet at the module that talks about the lean startup methodology, but this is all an essential part of this program. And again, this will help you guys if you are wondering, like, how will I benefit from this program? It's really about the mindset, because these these methods and these approaches will stick. They will stay with you. Like I personally, when I have been exposed to those many times and I have taught them at university, and then we did a lot of programs with youth your age. Now, this is a way of living that I do. Like I apply design thinking in almost everything I do, not just like whenever I have an entrepreneurial idea. It's if I have a problem at work and I need to solve it. If I'm writing a grant proposal and I'm involving some people, and like I have certain target audience, I talk to them before I submit the grant proposal, because I know that I need to check whether my idea works with them or not. In my personal life, even, I sometimes resort to these methodologies because they help a lot. So it's really a mindset that if you master, will help you a lot in anything you do. So this is something you need to keep in mind. It's something that hopefully will change the way you think, will change the way you live, and will help you be more creative, more innovative, more entrepreneurial, will help you to be a problem solver, and most importantly, what we call a change maker, to make real change in your community and to have an influence on the people around you and change their lives positively. So with that, I'm gonna now be creating the breakout rooms. I believe we can have around 15 minutes. Let me know if you need more time. Of course, Wasim, you can send me, or you can send that on the group. 1 second. All right, so again, maybe I can write this in the chat. What we expect from you is to share the problem you have in mind and share the preliminary solution. And I like stress on preliminary because you should be exploring and checking different solutions and don't just stick to one idea from now. Even if you submitted your idea, guys, you need to know that you have the liberty and the freedom to keep improving on this and changing it, because again, this is part of the process. We don't want you to be rigid and say, no, this is it, this is what I think should be done. If you learn that maybe I need to tweak this in a certain way, then you should. If you learn that some other people have did this and they failed, then maybe you need to see another way to do it. So it's very important to keep learning. So share the preliminary solution and maybe talk a little bit about ways to validate. Okay, so that as I mentioned earlier, we don't just want you to be doing this based on your own ideas and assumptions and beliefs. We want to be rooting it in reality, rooting it in evidence and research, in empathy, and in validation with customers and getting their feedback. All right, so I'm gonna now open the rooms. Okay, so for those who are with me here, we can also do the same. And guys, I would really, really appreciate if you can open your camera. I mean, I'm in my bedroom, you know, I look not the best, but I still would like you to see me, and I would like to see you. All right, thank you, Hamza. Okay. So Hamza, would you like to tell us a little bit more about the problem that you have thought of?
I thought about overpopulation because in my community, we are facing it a lot. And I thought that this is very dangerous.
Mm-hmm. So this is a very important and like, it's a critical, you know, problem. But again, we need to always keep in mind the theme of the program. So the theme is the environment. So if we want to look at a problem, like if we want to narrow down, how can overpopulation be related to the environment? Or what are some environmental consequences related to overpopulation? And then you're gonna focus on that. So how do you think the two are related?
I wrote about it's the damaging the ground we are living in, and the air is overpopulated now. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so all right, I'm not picking on you or anything, it's just a good example for everyone. So how do you think, Hamza, we can state this in a better way? Like if you want to state it as a problem statement, what would it be? Like in one sentence, remember the assignment. So basically we asked you who needs to do what, right? And why? So who is your target audience in this case?
Government.
Okay. All right. So, Malin, let me stop you here. So, guys, I need your feedback so that we all assist in this conversation. I don't want to be the teacher in the room because really I believe that this is a nice way to discuss as a group. So, guys, do you think that the government should be our target audience?
I don't
No.
feel that. I really don't feel that because we have been trying to change the government and it has never worked so far. They could not even change themselves.
Yes, and this is not just about a certain country or just Lebanon. Hamza, so the idea here is that you as youth, like I want you to act as youth. Don't like, we shouldn't assume that we have some kind of like a magic wand or like superpowers. No, with whatever power that you really have, what can you do and who can you influence to do what? So in my opinion, even if we are living in the most modern civilized country where governments are very receptive to its people, it's not easy because governments are bureaucratic, they have a lot of processes and so on. So if I'm targeting the government, especially that you are like very young and you still don't have the power and you don't have the reach, this will be challenging, very challenging. I'm not like saying this should never be the case. Sometimes, yes, it should be. But in this case, it's a 1-month program. You know, you have to come up with a good solution and it should be realistic. I would discourage you from having the government as your target audience. So having said that, what could be an alternative, Hamza?
Well, that's need thinking.
Okay, so you are talking about overpopulation, and you said that in my area, we are facing this problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the people who are facing the problem, right? It's
Yeah.
the people. Okay, so this should be your target audience. So which area exactly? Like, don't shy out from being specific. It's very good to be specific because then your solution will be more realistic. Like if I want even like, even if Lebanon is a small country, but I as one individual cannot create a solution for 6 million people, right? Okay, so this means that if I'm more specific, I have more chance of actually making a change. So if I were you, I would actually name the area. Like which people of which area? Can you tell me in which geographic area are you talking about or referring to?
I'm talking about Damascus.
Great. Damascus. So you say the people of Damascus. And if there is another term for that, you say it. Great. Amazing. So the people of Damascus, what do they need? They need a way to what?
They need a way to I don't know.
Yeah, what's the problem? Okay, what's the problem again? So it's related to overpopulation and the environmental effects. Like as a person who is being affected by this, what, like, again, think from your own perspective to start with, and then we validate with others. What are the environmental effects of overpopulation? Like, are you what? Is it like you can't breathe fresh air? Is it that you are always annoyed by noises? Like, you have to be specific.
Noise population is the most, actually.
Okay, so noise pollution. Great. So now see, we are narrowing this down. So the people of Damascus need a way to reduce noise pollution.
Noise population.
Right? Why? Why can they? It's not why we should do this, because we all know if we reduce noise pollution, we'll have better well-being. We will be maybe more productive. We will be less stressed out. So we're not asking about these obvious reasons. We're saying, why can't they now do anything about it? So what's the root cause of the problem? In your opinion, why is noise pollution severe in Damascus? Is it because, for example, we have a lot of cars? What is the reason behind it?
The overpopulation, because many peoples are living next to each other.
Okay, but again, we have to find a root cause that we can actually do something about. So in your case, if there is this density, like it's very dense, right? Over density, overpopulation. But can you, like, I don't know, go and say, oh guys, I found you a solution. Like we should empty half of the houses and like you go to another rural area. Would that be a feasible solution in your opinion?
Of course not.
Okay, of course not. So if I just say that the root cause is because there are too many people living next to each other, then I won't be able to do much about it. But what else can I do something about? Like what's another, there are a lot of root causes, right? So definitely overpopulation is one. But what else? Like let's think of other factors that I can have an influence upon. Again, I am not talking about myself as you, like I'm talking in your, you know, in your own words, as a youthful citizen, what are the things you can somehow change or influence or reduce? So we said I cannot like tell people don't live next to each other and affect overpopulation, but what else can I do? Like what, again, we're talking about noise pollution very specifically. So this is a good start. What is one of the root causes? Anybody would like to help Hamza maybe on this, guys? Let's have it as an interactive discussion. What are the... Yes, Emma.
I couldn't be part of the earlier discussion. So the problem was mainly, can you please repeat the problem Hamza's trying to solve?
So Hamza is really frustrated by the noise pollution in Damascus, and he believes that the people of Damascus need a way to reduce the noise pollution. But now we are trying to tap into the root cause of the problem, or one of the root causes, because there could be many, one root cause that he can actually do something about. So he said, because it's overpopulated and people live very close to each other, but I told him, I don't think you can do much about that. You won't say like, let's empty half of the houses and go live in the rural areas, for example. I know this is like a bit extreme, but it's just to get the point across. So what is some other root cause that we can actually have a contribution to?
Eventually look at the walls, because usually some walls have filters and some don't. So maybe that they're under, the infrastructure is not that good there in Damascus, and we should work upon this.
Oh, okay.
Make sure
so
that
what Emma is, yeah, I really like this. So Hamza here, what Emma is saying is, based on what you said, the root cause of this noise pollution is not just that there's a lot of people, but that there is no soundproofing or no sound insulation between the houses. So see, I mean, it's still the same problem, but if we just phrased it differently, then we have a better chance of doing something about it. So let's assume, okay, and now it's just a discussion. Let's assume you say the people of Damascus need a way to reduce noise pollution because the houses don't have, because currently, yes, the houses don't have soundproofing. Do you think that this would be easier somehow to solve?
A lot easier.
Okay, great. Now, another question will be, how can we use web development in order to help solve this problem? Like if this is the root cause, and there are different root causes for this problem, like sound pollution is, again, it's like not one thing, it's like many things. So what can we do with web development in order to help solve the soundproofing issue?
We need a very big financial support, actually.
Yes, but don't worry for now about the financial support. Okay, we'll think about this later. But what can I do from a web development perspective? Okay.
Let people know what the problem is and what is the easy solution for it.
Okay, yeah. So easy solution, I like that. So, okay, maybe you need to do some research, Hamza, about easy solutions to improve soundproofing. And I know there are a lot of DIYs, you know, like do-it-yourself ways that don't actually require a lot of money. And if you're just raising awareness about DIY methods and making them available on a website for people of Damascus to see and to, like, they could be, you know, videos or steps on how you can do something, how you can do soundproofing for your apartment or your, I don't know, so that we improve noise pollution and reduce it, then this could be a solution. But again, this is one idea. What could be another idea? So guys, you can, yes, we have Nurhan. Nurhan, please. We can't hear you well. Nurhan, maybe you want to write on the chat, because we couldn't hear you well. Who else would like to give a go? So we came up with one idea, guys, right? It's a random idea, and this is how brainstorming should happen. It's like, oh, one of the problems is soundproofing. Another problem could be like too many cars, okay? Like if it's too many cars, then what could be a potential solution using web development? What could it be? I'm sure you've heard of some of these solutions. Like, what do we do to reduce number of cars on the road? One of the ways is what we call carpooling.
Public transport.
Yeah, definitely. But public transport is again something that who can do? Us or the government?
Yes, the government.
Okay, so I can't do public transport, right? So I don't. It's a good idea, but like this is supposed to be the government who does this, and I'm not the government, so I'm not gonna do it. Maybe I can do a carpooling app, right? Like it could.
The idea we can do is that we can advertise for the companies that provide transport for people.
Okay, so maybe yes, tell the people if they are not aware of the alternatives that are available. They should know this. Maybe I can put up a very easy to use, responsive website that they can also access from their phones, and it's very user friendly, and it will tell you if you are in this location, you should use this bus, for example, or that bus, and this will make your life easier. And then you will, hopefully people will be using less cars, and this might help. Okay, so it's another idea, Hamza. You're not trying to influence you, just telling you, oh, there could be many ideas that we can do. Okay, yes, Roy?
Yes, I have an idea. Maybe we can collaborate with a sports mall or any sports company. So the people that use alternative way to like to go and come, they can get a discount for any sports I don't know, company like bikes or even shirts and those stuff, so they can
exactly
walk instead of going by car using
so yes. So again, if the problem that you choose, the sub problem is like because there are too many cars, Roy is suggesting we can tell the people about the existing alternatives like walking, biking, like public transportation or something else, or carpooling, but I need to provide them with an incentive to use it, because it's not just enough maybe to let them know that these exist. They might somehow know, but I want to also encourage them to use it. So Roy is suggesting, oh, let's like have a reward system. We can collaborate with some shops. Like if they are using more biking, I can have some discounts from bike shops. If they are doing, walking or jogging to go around, I can give them some, I don't know, discounts on tennis shoes or sports, I don't know, clothes, or like, yeah. So this is a good idea. And of course, I'm sure that Roy said that based on maybe something he has seen or heard, these reward programs that encourage you, as especially the youth, right, to embrace these alternatives and to make them as a way of life. Thank you, Roy, for that. What else? Let's have one more idea, and Hamza and your team, you can keep brainstorming, right? And this is part of what we call ideation. It's like, I don't just come up with one idea and say, I'll do it. We say, okay, let's think of different solutions. And then we should try to assess these solutions based on the feasibility, based on, again, if I need money to implement it, based on how much people will respond to this. So if I just do the awareness website where I tell them what other alternatives are available, this is not as good as if I provide this with incentives and rewards and discounts. The second one is more effective. So of course I would choose the second one, for example. So let's have one more idea or solution to this problem. And it doesn't have to be the too many cars. It could be like solving another root cause that is related to the noise pollution. So I have Yasnoor wrote on the chat, building a platform that connects engineers or people who build sound insulators with the person annoyed from the noise. I love this. So this is yet another idea going back to the root cause of the soundproofing. Okay. So Nurhan is saying we build a platform. It's like a marketplace. We connect engineers, so people who have some expertise and material to do the soundproofing, okay, with the people who need it. Okay, so it's like we call it a marketplace. So you're connecting the expert with the customer. And here, Hamza, you don't need a lot of money. Why? Because you're just managing the marketplace and you're not buying the actual material. The engineers are buying them, and who's paying for them? The user. What you can simply do is you can take a small commission fee because you introduce them to each other, right? So this is how marketplaces work. So this is a very nice idea. Thank you, Nurhan, for that. And Adam is saying a Sweatcoin can encourage people to walk or ride a bike. Amazing. So this is yet another solution. So again, if we are saying that the root cause is that there are too many cars and people need to be using less cars, he is suggesting to create some kind of a digital currency, let's call it Sweatcoin, where the more you walk or the more you ride a bike, you will collect more of these coins. And again, you should be able to redeem them somehow, like with, I don't know, some sandwich shops, some, I don't know, pizza places, anything. It could be anything. Or you can buy something online, for example. Yes, Amma, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I want to add upon the idea that has been mentioned before. We can also assign, let's say, engineers with people living in houses that need proof noise materials. And so it doesn't have to be about materials and everything. It could be about like advice, because I think that living there in Damascus, people know how to do their stuff, but they only need advice for this. And we can also provide, now this is not something that will be found in Lebanon, but in terms of transparency, we can find the lowest price in the market for these materials and show it on the website.
Yes, this is amazing. And again, this is another potential solution. So Hamza, do you already have a team?
No.
Okay.
I just have one member.
Okay. So who would like to join Hamza? So we can have, I think, one or two more, but not more. So I think this is a very interesting problem to tackle. And yeah, if any of you guys are interested and you don't have a team yet, you can also join Hamza and his team member. So what's the name of the other team member? Who's else with you, Hamza, and your team?
Actually, I'm checking. He left.
He left today's meeting, or he left the entire? Okay. So Hamza is, guys, open for team members. I think this is a very, very good problem that he is tackling, and it would be very interesting for you to join. So Emma. Okay, so Emma here, yeah, you would like to work on smoking, but it's okay if you don't mind to change your problem. we don't mind you doing that. So we all know that we asked you to submit the first deliverable or submission as individuals, but we also know that a lot of you will change the problem they're working on, and because now you need to work in teams. So if you don't mind, you can maybe discuss with Hamza, and you can see if you find synergy and if you feel that you're a good match and would like to work together. And it could be either his problem, your problem, or maybe some kind of problem in between that you both like and think is a good one. So I think we gave a very good example in this session on how to think. Okay, so Emma is in. Hamza, you have a teammate now. And I can see that Emma is a very active person, so I think she's a great teammate. So, okay, anyone else who would like to join this team? So, Adam, do you already have a team?
Yes.
Okay, what are you working on?
We are working on also water contamination, but we haven't go more specific yet.
Okay, so yes, we talked a little bit before about the Hasbani. Okay, since some people are working on the same problem, I believe you should team up, okay, with them. And as we mentioned in one of the videos in the program, you can use the community feature on Shabab Lab to also talk in more details about what you have in mind. So I know on WhatsApp, you're barely saying like, hi guys, this is my name and I need a team. But this is never enough to make a team, because they need to know more, like how are you thinking? What's the problem that you would like to solve? What are some ideas you have in mind? So if this is too much to be shared on WhatsApp, then definitely you should be sharing this on the community platform, and having also responses from other people. So I highly encourage that. So Emma, we said, is going to be with Hamza. Muhammad Awada, do you have a team? Muhammad? Okay, Nurhan? Okay, she said yes already in a team. Nurhan, do you also have a team? Great. Raghed?
Yes, I also have a team of 4 people.
Great.
And we're working on renewable energy.
Renewable energy. Okay, do you want to discuss it a bit?
Yes, so we all know actually the problem that Lebanese people are facing right now because of the power cut. And we are facing about like 10 hours, a minimum of power cut. So the alternative for generating energy out of fossil fuel and the 2 ships that are currently generating electricity is renewable energy, because Lebanon really has a great abundance of wind and sun and water. And the cost of producing energy from renewable resources is really much less than producing renewable energy from fossil fuels.
Okay. Okay, this is amazing. So we know the problem. We have some kind of idea that you would like this to revolve around renewable energy, but I think it needs to be more specific. Okay, so first of all, you need to, and this applies to Hamza as well, like we said, the people of Damascus, but still, this is still broad. Like the people of Damascus are old and young and male and female and like working and non-working. So you need to narrow it down. So and maybe in some of the ideas that we got from the group, they said like reward system, encourage them to walk, bike. Who do you think would be inclined to do this? Is it like the old people? Is it the young people? What kind of audience?
Yes, sorry, I have a bad connection because I'm not hearing you well.
It's okay. I can answer that. Please? Yes. So basically, I'm asking, like, I'm taking again Hamza as an example to answer a question I have for you. Like when he said the people of Damascus need a way to reduce noise pollution, but like, and somebody suggested a solution related to biking and walking and having a reward system. Who do you think will be more prone to actually like do this? Is it the old people? Is it the young people? What kind of audience will be willing to bike and walk and like will engage with a reward system? Anyone? So with who does this resonate better? With the? I didn't hear you. Amma?
I didn't hear you.
Okay, so I'm referring to some of the solutions that were shared, like the reward system, biking, walking. Who do you think will respond to this? What kind of people? Is it everyone or some specific group?
The youth will.
The youth, great. So yes, so for example, in Hamza's case, it wouldn't be the people of Damascus, but it would be the youth of Damascus, okay? Because this is who I'm targeting. So in Raghid's case, you're talking about renewable energy as an alternative. Who do you think, Raghid, would be willing to do such a shift from the traditional, generators and methods to generate power to using renewable energy? Who are the people who will be your target audience?
Old people and not youth.
Okay, not necessarily old, right? Because there's something in between as well. So not the youth, because they don't have the money, they don't own the house and so on, of course. So it's usually like house owners, let's say, right? Like they have to own a house to be interested in this. So I see the other group is back.
Yes,
Hi,
they
guys.
do not have the decision to change.
They do not have the decision, yes. So it's homeowners, so probably middle age. What kind of social status? Can anyone, in your opinion, afford renewable energy? I mean, it's not very expensive yet. It's not cheap. So it's not.
Actually, it's maybe, yes, sorry.
Yeah, continue.
I was saying that the government should handle this and change from renewable energy, from fossil fuels to renewable energy. And since the cost of renewable energy, producing electricity from renewable energy is less, so the electricity bills will be less and people will definitely agree on this.
Okay, so so in your case, you have to validate what you're talking about with research to check like the math, like the calculations. Would this be economically feasible and would the people want to switch? Okay, and then you have to think, who are your early adopters? So do you think they are, again, like somebody who is struggling to find food will not be interested maybe in this? They have other priorities. But maybe somebody who is really struggling from the lack of electricity and yet can afford maybe to pay in installments. They don't have to be rich to do that. They can pay this in installments. They might be interested. So this is more like you have to try to say, okay, which economic class are we talking about? Is it like the middle class? And I believe it might be the middle class in your case, because I don't know, you have to validate honestly, but because they might be able to afford the installments, and because the middle class are the working class too, they are frustrated from lack of electricity because they need to work, right? So this could be something, but you have to validate. Also, when you talk about renewable energy, you have to be a bit more specific. So are you gonna just have like a website raising awareness about all kinds of renewable energy? Because hydro, wind and solar are different. They have different prices, they have different effectiveness. The installation price is very different. The suppliers are very different. So again, we need to be more specific. Like, are we talking about solar, for example? So
yes, I guess it's solar energy because hydro energy is approximately double the price.
yes, and also if you think about it, Raghat, hydro is more for like municipalities or for the government, because we don't own these water bodies as homeowners, right? We, like, even if I have a river next to me, I can't go and install I don't know what in the river. It's not mine. Like, it's public spaces, right? Like the lakes, the rivers, the sea, like, because there's also the waves, you know, and you can generate some electricity from that. But the sea is public property, and the, right, and the ocean, in case a country has an ocean. So basically, also hydro, like, you need to, I don't want to like spend too much time on this, but you need to, in your thought process, do more, right? Do more brainstorming, and again, research and validation. And whenever you say, okay, this is a solution I want, you need to go and talk to some people and check with them. What people? It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be just your, you know, cousin and your friend and your neighbor. This could be a good start, but it cannot be just that, because you need to really understand if this makes sense for the target audience. So if you are talking about homeowners that are from the middle class, they have frustration about the electricity problem. And when you talk about solar, there's one more consideration that's very important, is space, right? So they need to have the space for the solar. So in this case, do you think this will be more targeted towards the urban or the rural areas? What do you think? Who has more space, urban or rural? Anyone?
Rural.
Rural, yes. So maybe this could be your early adopter. It could be people who are, again, frustrated, middle class, and they are homeowners and they live in the rural areas. So this could be your first customer segment. And again, you need to validate. So you if you know some people like that, you go and ask them, like, are you being frustrated from the electricity? What are you doing to solve this? How many hours of electricity are you getting a day? What are your alternatives? How much are you paying? Have you considered an alternative? What do you think of solar as a solution? Do you think you have the right space for this? And again, here you should have done your secondary market research, and you see, like, what's the needed space, what's the needed cost, etc. What do you think of these prices? Do you know of suppliers? Have you tried to contact them? If I create a website which has a list of suppliers, would you be interested? If maybe I give you discounts on these, would you order from our website? Okay, so you can ask them a lot of questions and check what they think about this, and this will give you a lot of insights that you can implement in your solution. So I hope this helps, guys. Wasim, can you brief us on your room?
Well, yeah, from my side, basically we had like similar ideas for renewable energy, for example. So we, as usual, like some weren't that specific when it comes to the problem they were tackling. So, for example, they were talking about pollution. So I told them no, they have to always tackle a specific problem, part of this pollution. What pollution? Okay, sea pollution, for example, plastic pollution on the seas, for example. Let's say. So okay, choose a specific beach to start from. Like this was like a common problem. For example, we had like people talk about renewable energy. For example, they were saying, "Hey, we're gonna bring renewable energy." So okay, what renewable energy? Choose one, and be specific. And always, like, you can always find resources online. I said this, I'm going to repeat this here. Like, you can find always resources on YouTube. Do it yourself tutorial on how to do things in a cheap way, perhaps like an easier way. Maybe you can find someone who also did like the same initiative. You can redo it, but build on it. or maybe if this initiative doesn't exist in your country, but it's needed, maybe you can also use this idea. It's totally fine. So always, as we always say, research. This is like the key, and you'll always research before doing or taking any steps.
All right, thank you, Asim, for that. So I really, guys, hope that this discussion was helpful. Again, this is being recorded, so you can refer to it whenever you want. And if you have any questions, you can also reach out to us. You already have my email, you have Wasim's contact, you have us on WhatsApp. So we are there for you to help you. And now, because I don't want to take too much of your Saturday time, I would like to open it for questions and see what you have, any questions you have for us, anything that is maybe you're not sure about what to expect as a result or outcome. So anything that you have in mind, you're not sure about, please feel free to ask. We have another like 13 minutes to go. Yes, Roy. Roy? So Roy, you have your hand raised. Would you like to ask your question? Okay, Emma, maybe we should go to you. Emma?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
It was lagging.
Yes.
Yes, can you hear me? Because the internet is lagging.
Yes, maybe it's my problem, but I hear you well, guys.
So I wanted to ask about eventually, like, if you want to apply our solutions on the field. I have been personally involved just going on the field and having my assessment done. If as a team, can we go there and say that we're from Shabab Lab and go to the place we want to have our resolution applied to? Like, if we take all the COVID-19 precautions and everything, could we do this as a Shabab Lab team?
Yes, Emma, you can, but I would really like to maybe have a small meeting with you so that I understand better, so that I give you some tips. But of course, if you want to implement this in reality, this is. So I'm sorry, I got disconnected. Do you hear me?
Now, yes.
Yes.
Mona, are you with us now?
Yes.
Okay, Emma, can you repeat your question?
No, I heard it. I heard it actually, so it's fine. So I was saying, Emma, that this is completely encouraged, and you are going and doing the next, you're going the next mile. You're doing more than what we expect. So this is really, really good, and it will put you at an outstanding position in the program and in the results of the projects. But I would like to have maybe a short meeting with you just to understand exactly what you have in mind, so that I can give you some tips in order. So when you go on the ground and are trying to implement something, you have considered all possible challenges and you have been prepared, for what is to come. So I highly salute you for this. We really are very much impressed and happy to hear that you have this ambition to do it in real life, and this is what we really would like to see everyone do. But just let's have a small meeting where again we discuss some potential challenges and make sure you are well prepared for this step. Okay?
Okay, noted. Thank you so much.
Great. Roy, you had also your hand raised.
Yes, I have a small question concerning, so my team and I, we finished the ideation part and submission of the problem. So after this, we need to create a website in order to solve the problem. We did it.
Yes, exactly. So what we expect you when you were ideating, right, to come up with different solutions similar to what we did in our breakout room in order to see how can we implement a web-based solution to solve this problem. And as we saw at the beginning, the web could be one part of the solution, and there could be a physical aspect to the solution as well. So this really depends on what you're doing. And after you with your team get to a conviction that this is really the best solution that we can do, and it satisfies the requirement of the program, so it has a web-based component, then you should go to the prototyping part where you apply the web development module to your own solution. But before you do that, again, I really want to emphasize the importance of coming up with different ideas and not just saying, okay, this is the solution, let's do it. You have to really brainstorm different ideas as a team and do some kind of validation to the top ideas, like the top best ideas that you have. You need to go ask some people, check what they think about them, do research, check what others have done before you say, khalas, this is it, I'm gonna do this. So this is really important so that you stand out, okay? Because many times in these programs, we have very similar solutions, and sometimes the teams don't go in depth in the research and the validation. And the more you do this, the more you do research, the more you validate, the better your outcome will be, and you will be standing out against the other teams. So this is what we highly recommend that you do. Okay, I hope this helped.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Anyone else? So maybe we can have room for one more question before we close the meeting.
And we also have to take a group selfie. Like this is the rule now.
Yes, guys, please. I know like online meetings are not always the most interactive, but we have to do our best. So any other last questions? Ali, would you like to ask anything? You're fine. Okay. Who would like to go, guys? Maybe it could be a comment, some feedback. I don't know. Some insight. What are some takeaways from today's session? Was it helpful? Did you learn something new? Did it help you with your ideas?
Yeah, this meeting was really helpful. It made all I've learned in the website, made it all clear, and you can now start the web development faster and more understanding.
Great. Yes, Elena, the session is recorded, but it was more of a discussion. So I believe the most people who benefited are those who were in the room, because it was like, not a one-sided discussion, but definitely you can watch it also. We will add it on the Shabab Lab YouTube channel. And now, if there are no more questions, we can have, as Wasim suggested, a group Zoom selfie, let's call it. So can
everyone open your cameras, don't be shy.
Our cameras? More?
All right, 1, 2, 3, Shabab Lab.
Thank you, guys. So yes, about hosting a domain, do you want to talk about this, Wasim?
They have several ways to host a domain. For example, for free, they can do it on several websites. But no, it's not necessary to host a domain right now. Like just do it locally on your computer, and we have like a lesson in the web development model that shows you how to host your website locally. on your laptop and allow others to edit it or view it. So don't worry about going online yet. But if you want to go online with a free host, you have WordPress.com. I don't suggest WordPress.com that much because the .org version is way better. It allows you to actually play with the website. Or you can use something called 000 Web Hosts. I'm going to check out the name and resend it to you, but this is how I remember it. It allows you to basically also use WordPress online. The WordPress you're using right now with plugins and everything, but it's online. So I was checking it like 2 days ago and I found it online. It was very interesting. You can actually use it for free, so it's nice.
Yes,
but
guys,
do not worry.
And if you do some research in addition to what Wasim was saying, you will find free hosting, as he mentioned. But of course, the name will not be what you want. So it won't be emmasulaiman.com. It will be, I don't know what the name of the company that is hosting that. So it will be an ugly host domain name, but this is fine because it's free. When you want to have your own domain name, then of course you have to pay and you have to have your own hosting then. So yeah, but for now we don't ask you to do that unless you want to. So I also have some hands. Adam?
Yes, I just want to ask when our website will be secure.
What do you mean?
How we make beside the website that I made, there's like a warning or like this that our website is not secured yet. When it will be?
Okay, so I think there are some like steps you can do to improve security. So if you are having a warning, you can send this to Wasim and he will check it. But sometimes, especially if this is not public yet, it's fine. Like, if you're just doing this as a prototype, it's okay. But of course, whenever you want to make this like used by other people and it is released, then of course, security is a very important consideration. One of the easiest thing, it comes with WordPress by default is the SSL security. So it's like the basic security, but sometimes it's not sufficient depending on what you're doing. So then you have to pay some money to improve security with some security solutions. In our case, we only use the SSL by WordPress for now. So you always have to assess and then see if it's sufficient or not. Roy, do you have a question?
Yes. Can we use Wix site for the website? يعني it's easy and more formal and هيك في كتير أشياء هيك improved and updated.
Wix? You're talking about Wix?
No, يمكن قصده WordPress.com. I think he means WordPress.com. Right, Roy?
Wix site. Wix.com.
Wix, okay.
Wix,
so,
okay.
Roy, for us, we would like you to learn WordPress. If you feel, so at least do the steps in the web development modules and make sure you understand this because as mentioned, WordPress is one of the most popular and it's, very flexible. Now for Wix, very specifically, you need to understand that Wix, I think, is banned from Lebanon. So if you are based in Lebanon, Wix is banned because it's affiliated with the occupying state that we are not in peace with. So this is something you need to keep in mind. But if you have access and you just want to do the prototype and present it to us, I don't think this should be an issue. But we really want you also to learn WordPress and to learn, all the steps that we covered. So make sure you do that. And then if for the prototype you want to use Wix and like show us the video, that's fine. I think this is fine. Okay.
And also like WordPress is way much better because WordPress is used like by 40% of the websites in the world are basically built using WordPress. Something like this is the statistics that you saw in the web development module. So, and also like when it comes to employability, for example, WordPress is much more demanded. It's always much more demanded. Like people ask for WordPress developers more, and it's much easier. I tried Wix. okay. It's easy, but WordPress is easier to grasp and handle.
And thank you, Emma, for sharing your website. So guys, check it out, beiyouth.org, beiyouth. And I'm checking it now. Yeah, it's very good. It's great to see it. And yeah, maybe you want to tell us a little bit more.
So yeah, Bay Youth right now we're even having internships. Bay Youth is a grassroots organization that has the goal to use the power of youth in filmmaking and problem solving to galvanize healthcare justice. So we do a documentary. We then have a conference like MUN conferences and discuss about how we were able to help those initiatives featured in our documentaries.
Nice, that's really nice. So guys, it's very much recommended that you check them out. And I'm very happy to have you, Emma, with us in the group. You are a real change maker. Sirine, you also have your hand raised.
Yeah, I have a question. What should we do as a team?
Okay, so as a team, first of all, you need to find, of course, some common meeting time so that you meet together and discuss. First of all, the final problem that you would like to solve. And then brainstorm together and come up with very different ideas, the same way we did today in the session. So we came up with different ideas for one problem. And then you have to assess these ideas and assess if it's feasible for you to create a web-based solution to solve the problem, or at least a significant part of it. I mean a significant part of the bigger problem, but like if the web-based solution is actually contributing to this, and you might have a physical component as well, but also the web solution should be meaningful. So one thing we had last time is that the websites were simply raising awareness, and this is okay, but it's not the best. Sometimes we have like websites that are much more powerful. So again, take Shabab Lab, for example. It's not just a website that is just telling you about something. It's like there's actual programs with videos, with the things that you do. So it's interactive. It's not just like I'm telling you about social entrepreneurship and writing a paragraph that you read. So always think of how could my web-based solution be really meaningful and really contributing to the problem, and not just, it's to check some written things about the problem. And then when you brainstorm together and come up with a final idea based on research and validation, you then have as a team to divide some tasks and say, all right, for example, Emma will start with the web development, and then Roy will help, and then Hamza will also check. So how are you gonna do this? As Wasim mentioned, we provided a way to work together on the prototype development. It's in one of the videos, maybe the last video in the web development module. And after that, you will upload, of course, your prototype, and then you will build a business model as well, and also upload that. And finally, you will prepare a pitch together. This is all outlined clearly in the Shabab Lab courses and the modules that you have to finish. And then there will be some kind of a competition, like amongst the different teams. So we will have jury assessing the different teams, and we will select some winners. So this will be at the end of the program. So yeah, this is what we expect you to do. So what's the importance of teamwork here is that you can divide the tasks, so you can do more with less time, right? Because you're only one person, you can't do everything on your own. So if you're 3 or 4 people, you can divide different tasks, do more research, do more validation, do a better prototype as a team. And of course, think about things from different perspectives and end up with a better business model, a better sustainable business, and a better pitch by the end of it. So this is why we stress a lot on the team. Yeah. Is that clear, Sirine? Does it answer your question?
Yes, thank you. We'll try to do our best.
Yes, and I'm sure that you can do great, guys. So yes, you are young. Yes, maybe some of you, this is your first exposure to these topics, but we know for sure, it's not just that we hope, we know for sure, we've seen it, that you have a lot of like motivation, power, drive, and creative ability to come up with these out of the box, meaningful solutions that can create real change. So again, this is not just based on hopes, it is based on what we have seen before and what we are sure that you can do. We just want to give you this opportunity to you know like make your voice go through and have as many people know about how creative you can be and how you can make change in your own community. And yes, Wasim is suggesting that we can feature the best pitch. Definitely, we can do that. If not on the platform, then we can do that on the YouTube channel, definitely. So any last questions before we end? Thank you so much, guys, again, for being with us on a Saturday morning. And we will have another meeting in around a week or so, or 10 days, where we also check on your progress and make sure everything is well. Because as you know, by end of August, the program will be ending too. All right, and meanwhile, any questions you have, you can either run them by Wasim, or if they are more related to the idea, to the implementation, you can run them by me too. Have a great day.
You're not bothering me, by the way. They always say, hey, sorry for bothering you. No, you're not. I'm happy to help you. So hit me up. Don't worry about it, okay? Anytime you want.
Thank you, Wasim. Thank you so much for this. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.